My name is Eleanor. To my neighbors in the trailer park, I am the quiet old lady who grows tomatoes and knits blankets for the homeless shelter. To my son David, I am a burden, a reminder of a humble past he has tried desperately to scrub away. But to the IRS and to the board of directors of Horizon Logistics, I am something else entirely. I am the majority shareholder, the silent owner, the woman who built an empire from a single delivery truck 40 years ago. I never told David. It started as a precaution. When his father died and the business took off, David was a teenager. I saw how money changed people. I saw how it made them soft, entitled. I wanted him to build his own character, to work for his own success. So I lived simply. I drove a 2005 Toyota. I wore clothes from Walmart. I put every cent of profit into trusts and investments. I thought I was teaching him a lesson in humility. Instead, I taught him shame. David grew up resenting our poverty. He clawed his way into a top university paid for by a scholarship I secretly funded and became a corporate lawyer. He married Vanessa, a woman who was beautiful, ambitious, and as cold as a marble floor. Vanessa came from old money, or so she claimed. In reality, her family was drowning in debt, maintaining a facade of wealth. She married David for his potential, and she tolerated me like a bad smell. "Your mother is quaint," she would say, wrinkling her nose at my homemade cookies. I bore it. I bore the insults, the missed calls, the forgotten birthdays, because David was my son. But everyone has a breaking point. Mine came on a Sunday afternoon in May. The invitation arrived by mail, heavy cardstock embossed with gold leaf. You are cordially invited to the baby shower of Vanessa and David. The grand ballroom, the Ritz-Carlton. A baby. I was going to be a grandmother. My heart swelled. A grandchild. A new start. Maybe this baby would bridge the gap. Maybe this child would look at me with love instead of shame. I called David immediately. "I got the invitation. Honey, I'm so happy." "Yeah, thanks, Mom." His voice was tight-rushed. "Listen, it's a formal event. Vanessa's friends. They're high society. Just try to blend in. Okay, wear something. Not from the thrift store." "I will, David. I promise." "And Mom, about the gift." "Yes." "Vanessa has a registry at Neiman Marcus. Please just stick to the registry. Don't make anything. We don't need clutter." Clutter. He meant my quilts, my carvings, the things I made with my hands, the things that carried a piece of my soul. "I understand," I said softly. But I didn't understand. I had a plan I had been saving for 30 years. I went to my safe. It was hidden under the floorboards of my bedroom closet. I dialed the combination. Inside, stacked in neat piles, were bonds, deeds, stock certificates, and a small wooden box. It was carved from black walnut. My husband Frank had carved it for me before he died. It was rough, simple, unpolished. It looked like a child's project. But it had a secret. If you pressed the knot in the wood on the bottom left corner, a hidden drawer popped open. I took the key. It was a heavy iron key. The key to safety deposit box 404 at the First National Bank. Inside box 404 was a bearer bond for $5 million. It was my legacy fund. I placed the key in the secret drawer. I closed the box. I didn't wrap it in gold paper. I wrapped it in brown butcher paper tied with a simple piece of twine. It looked rustic. It looked poor. But to me, it looked like the future. I was going to give this to them. I was going to reveal everything. I was going to say, "Here, the struggle is over. This is your inheritance. Use it to build a good life for my grandchild." I thought they would cry. I thought they would hug me. I was a fool. The Ritz-Carlton was dripping in crystals and pink roses. It was a scene from a magazine. I arrived wearing my best dress, a simple navy blue suit. It was clean-pressed, but it was 10 years old. I saw the way the valet looked at my Toyota. I saw the way the hostess scanned my outfit before letting me in. I walked into the ballroom. Vanessa was sitting on a throne, literally a white velvet chair that looked like a throne. She was surrounded by women in designer dresses, holding glasses of champagne. David was standing by the bar, laughing with his colleagues. I walked up to them. "David," I said. He turned. His smile faltered. "Mom, you made it." He scanned my outfit. He looked relieved that I wasn't wearing a burlap sack, but still embarrassed. "Vanessa is over there," he said, pointing. "Go say hello. But don't monopolize her. She's tired." I walked to the throne. "Vanessa," I said, "you look beautiful." She looked at me. Her eyes flicked over my suit, my shoes, the brown paper package in my hands. "Eleanor," she said. Her voice was ice. "Thank you for coming. The gift table is over there." She pointed to a table piled high with silver boxes, Tiffany blue bags, and towering diaper cakes. I wanted to give this to you personally," I said, holding out the package. "Now," she asked, annoyed, "we're about to start the games." "Please," I said. "It's special." The women around her went quiet. They were watching. The poor mother-in-law was creating a scene. Vanessa sighed, a long, dramatic sigh that said, "Look what I have to put up with." "Fine," she said. She snatched the package from my hands. She didn't untie the twine. She ripped the paper. The brown paper fell to the floor. She held up the box, the old scratched black walnut box. It looked tiny and pathetic against the backdrop of the ballroom. "What is this?" Vanessa asked. She held it by the corner as if it were contaminated. "It's a box," I said, my voice trembling. "Frank made it." "Frank," she laughed. "Your dead husband. Great. A dead man's hobby project." The women giggled. "Open it," I whispered. "There's something inside." She opened the lid. The main compartment was empty. The key was in the false bottom, remember? She stared at the empty wooden space. "It's empty," she said flatly. "No," I stepped forward. "You have to." "It's an empty, dirty old wooden box," Vanessa announced to the room. Her voice rose shrill and cruel. "This is what you give your grandchild splinters." David walked over. "What's going on?" "Your mother," Vanessa said, shoving the box at him, "gave us trash, literally. Look at this, David. It smells like mothballs." David looked at the box. He recognized it. He knew his father had made it. For a second, I saw a flicker of recognition, of nostalgia. "Mom," he said, "this is Dad's box." "Yes," I said. "I wanted you to have it. It's important." "It's garbage!" Vanessa shrieked. "I specifically asked for the registry. I asked for the bugaboo stroller, the organic crib sheets, and you bring me firewood." She grabbed the box back from David. "I am not having this junk in my baby's nursery," she said. She stood up. She walked to the side of the room where a waiter was clearing a table with a large rolling trash bin. "Vanessa, no," I cried out. "Trash belongs in the trash," she said. And she threw it. She threw the box into the bin. It landed with a hollow thud on top of half-eaten cake and dirty napkins. The room went silent. Absolute pin-drop silence. Everyone looked at me, some with pity, most with amusement. I looked at David, my son, the boy I raised. He didn't go to the bin. He didn't yell at his wife. He looked at me, his face red with embarrassment. "Mom," he hissed, "why couldn't you just buy a gift card? Why do you always have to be so... Me," I whispered. "So cheap," he said. "So embarrassing." He turned his back on me. He went to Vanessa, putting his arm around her. "It's okay, babe. Don't get upset. It's bad for the baby. I'll buy you the stroller tomorrow." Vanessa smirked at me, a look of pure triumph. "Security," she called out to the doorman. "Can you escort this woman out? She's upsetting the guests." The security guard walked toward me. He looked apologetic. "Ma'am," he said gently, "it's time to go." I stood there. My feet felt rooted to the floor. I felt cold. The heat of shame that had burned my cheeks was gone. It was replaced by a cold, hard clarity. They didn't just reject the box. They rejected me. They rejected Frank. They rejected the love, the sacrifice, the history. And in doing so, they rejected the future. "I'll leave," I said. My voice was steady. "But I want my box." "It's in the trash, lady." Vanessa laughed. Take it. It suits you. I walked to the bin. The waiter tried to stop me. Ma'am, that's unsanitary. Step aside, I said. I reached into the bin. I pushed aside a plate of salmon. I felt the rough wood. I pulled out the box. It was stained with icing. I wiped it on my sleeve. I pressed the knot in the corner. Click. The secret drawer popped open a fraction of an inch. I saw the glint of the iron key. It was still there. The $5 million. The deed to the mansion. The future. It was all there. Safe. I pushed the drawer shut. I looked at Vanessa. I looked at David. You're right, Vanessa, I said. This box isn't for you. You don't have the hands to hold it. I looked at David. And you, I said. You don't have the spine to carry it. I turned and walked out. I walked past the security guard, past the valet. I got into my 2005 Toyota. I put the box on the passenger seat. I drove away. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I drove straight to my lawyer's office. Mr. Henderson. He was the only one who knew about the money. He was working late. I walked in, placing the stained box on his mahogany desk. Eleanor, he asked, surprised. What happened? You're covered in... Is that frosting? It's the debris of my family, I said. I sat down. Mr. Henderson, I said, I want to make some changes to my will and to the trust. What kind of changes? The David's Future Trust, I said. The one with the $5 million. Yes. Revoke it, I said. Dissolve it, today. But Eleanor? That's for the baby. For your son. I have no son, I said. And the baby will be fine. But David needs to learn a lesson. A $5 million lesson. Mr. Henderson opened his laptop. And the deed, the title transfer for their house, you were going to sign it over to them next week. Cancel it, I said. In fact, who holds the mortgage on their current house? You do, he reminded me, through the shell company, Bluebird Holdings. You bought the note last year to save them from foreclosure. Right, I said. Send them a notice. A notice. An eviction notice, I said. They are 3 months behind on payments. I've been letting it slide. I'm done sliding. Eleanor, they're having a baby. Then they better find a manger, I said, because there is no room at the inn. I picked up the box. Oh, and one more thing, I said. Yes. Do you know any good jewelers I want to melt down Frank's wedding ring and mine? Melt them. Yes, I said. I'm going to have them made into a keychain for this key. I held up the iron key. Because I'm never letting it go again. The morning after the baby shower was a stark contrast to the champagne-soaked celebration. David and Vanessa were in their kitchen, a kitchen with marble countertops and a Viking stove, a kitchen they couldn't afford. Vanessa was hungover. She was scrolling through Instagram liking photos of her own party. Look at this, David, she said, showing him a picture of herself on the throne. #queen, #blessed. Everyone is jealous. David was drinking coffee, looking at his phone. He looked stressed. We spent $20,000 yesterday, Vanessa, he said. The credit card is maxed out. So, she shrugged. Your mom's gift will cover it. Oh, wait, she gave us firewood. She laughed a cruel tinkling sound. Don't start, David muttered. I feel bad. She looked crushed. She embarrassed me, Vanessa snapped. Walking in there looking like a maid, and that box, it was an insult. Trash belongs in the trash. Ding dong. The doorbell rang. Probably another gift, Vanessa squealed, clapping her hands. Maybe it's the stroller from the Ashfords. She ran to the door. David followed. Vanessa opened the door with a bright smile. It wasn't a delivery man with a gift. It was a process server, a burly man with a clipboard and a gun on his hip. David Richter. Vanessa Richter. Yes, David asked, stepping forward. You have been served, the man said. He handed David a thick envelope. Then he turned and taped a bright orange notice to the front door. Notice of foreclosure and eviction. Occupants must vacate within 30 days. Vanessa stared at the orange paper. It clashed horribly with her wreath. What is this? She shrieked. Take that down. What will the neighbors think? David ripped open the envelope. His hands were shaking. It's from the bank, he whispered. Or the lender. Bluebird Holdings. Bluebird Holdings, Vanessa asked. Who are they? They bought our mortgage last year, David said, his face pale. Remember, we were behind on payments and the bank sold the note. I thought they were just some investment firm. They never bothered us. Well, they're bothering us now, Vanessa yelled. Fix it. David, call them. Tell them I'm pregnant. They can't evict a pregnant woman. Actually, the process server said, walking back to his car, in this state they can. Have a nice day. They went inside. The house suddenly felt cold. It didn't feel like theirs anymore. It felt like a borrowed coat that was being asked back. David sat at the table spreading out the papers. Default amount $12,400. Outstanding principal $850,000. Plaintiff Bluebird Holdings, LLC. We can pay the $12,000, Vanessa said, pacing. Take it from your 401k. I already drained the 401k for the wedding, Vanessa, David shouted. We have nothing. We are living on credit. Then call your mom, she said. Beg. Tell her it's for the baby. She has that little savings account. Maybe she can give us a few thousand. I can't ask her, David said, putting his head in his hands. Not after yesterday. We threw her gift in the trash. So she's your mother. She's desperate for our attention. Just call her cry a little and she'll open her wallet. She always does. David picked up his phone. He dialed my number. It went straight to voicemail. You have reached Eleanor. I am currently unavailable. Please leave a message. Her voice sounded different, stronger. She blocked me? David stared at the phone. She never turns her phone off. He looked back at the eviction notice. Bluebird Holdings, LLC, represented by Henderson and Associates. Henderson, David muttered. I know that name. He went to his laptop. He Googled Henderson and Associates. It was a small law firm, specializing in estates and trusts. Wait, David said. Mr. Henderson. He was Dad's lawyer. He handled the will when Dad died. A cold feeling started to creep up David's spine. Why would Dad's lawyer be representing the company evicting us? He searched for Bluebird Holdings, LLC. State Registry. Owner Anonymous Trust. Registered Agent Samuel Henderson. Incorporation date 1985. 1985. The year David's father died. The year the logistics company started making real money. No, David whispered. It can't be. What? Vanessa asked, looking over his shoulder. Bluebird, David said. Mom's favorite bird. She has them painted on her kitchen wall. He looked at Vanessa with wide, terrified eyes. My mother. She owns Bluebird Holdings. Vanessa laughed. Your mother? The woman who shops at Goodwill. Don't be stupid, David. She probably just knows the lawyer. No, David said, standing up. You don't understand. If she owns Bluebird, she owns the mortgage. She owns this house. That's impossible, Vanessa screamed. She's poor. She drives a Toyota. Does she? David asked. Or have we just never looked closer? They didn't wait. They got in their car, the leased Mercedes, and drove to the trailer park where I lived. They sped through the gates, ignoring the speed bumps. They pulled up to my trailer. My 2005 Toyota was in the driveway. But something was different. There was a sign in the yard. For sale. And there was a man in a suit standing on the porch. A realtor. David jumped out of the car. Where is she? He demanded. Where is my mother? The realtor looked at him. Mrs. Vance. She's inside packing, but she's busy. I'm her son. David shoved past him. He banged on the door. Mom, open up. Vanessa was right behind him. Eleanor, we know it's you. We know about Bluebird. I opened the door. I wasn't wearing my poor mother clothes. I was wearing a silk blouse and tailored trousers. I was wearing the gold necklace I had melted down from the wedding rings. The keychain was around my neck, the iron key resting against my heart. I looked calm, composed. Hello, David. Vanessa. You, Vanessa pointed a manicured finger at me. You own our mortgage. I do, I said. You're evicting us. David asked, his voice cracking. Your own son. I am evicting a tenant who hasn't paid rent in 3 months, I corrected him, and who destroyed my property. Property? Vanessa asked. We didn't destroy the house. No, I said. You destroyed my heart, and you destroyed the gift I gave you. I walked back into the trailer. On the table, the black walnut box sat polished and cleaned. The key was back inside. You threw this away, I said, touching the lid. It was a box, Vanessa screamed. Who cares about a stupid box? I care, I said. And the bank cares, because inside this box was the collateral for your lifestyle. David looked at the box, then he looked at me. Mom, you have money, real money. I have enough to buy your neighborhood, I said calmly. I have enough to buy your law firm, David. In fact, I'm looking into it. David went white. Why? He whispered. Why did you live like this? Why did you let us struggle? I didn't let you struggle, I said. I paid for your college. I paid for your wedding. I bought your mortgage to save you from the bank last year. I have been carrying you for your entire life. I stepped closer to him. I lived like this because I wanted to see who you would become without the money. I wanted to see if you were a good man. I looked at Vanessa, and I wanted to see if she loved you or if she loved the potential of your wallet. I love him, Vanessa lied, her eyes darting around the trailer as if looking for hidden bags of cash. No, you don't, I said. You love the Mercedes, you love the Ritz, and yesterday you showed me exactly what you think of anything that doesn't sparkle. I picked up the eviction notice from the table, my copy. You have 29 days left, I said. I suggest you start packing. And David, don't ask me for a reference for a new apartment. I don't lie to landlords. They left. They didn't scream this time. They were in shock. They drove back to their big, unpaid-for house. The reality set in that night. She has millions, David whispered, pacing the living room. She has millions and she's letting us drown. She's a monster, Vanessa spat. A selfish, hoarding witch. We have to sue her. We have to prove she's mentally unstable. Hoarding money like that isn't normal. She's not unstable, David said. She's smarter than us. She played us, Vanessa, for years. Well, we're not losing this house, Vanessa said, her eyes hard. I'm not moving into a rental. I'm having a baby. She grabbed David's arm. The box, she said. What about it? She said the collateral was inside. What was it? I don't know. A key, a check. We have to get it back, Vanessa said. If we get the box, we get the leverage. Maybe it's a deed. Maybe it's bearer bonds. Whatever it is, it belongs to us. She gave it to us. Legally, it was a gift. We threw it away, David reminded her. She stole it back, Vanessa countered. That's theft. We can call the police. We can say she stole our property. It was a desperate, stupid plan, but greed makes people stupid. I'm not calling the cops on my mom, David said. Fine, Vanessa said. Then we go get it ourselves, tonight. She changed the locks. It's a trailer, David. I can break into a trailer with a hairpin. They waited until midnight. They drove back to the trailer park. They parked down the street. They crept up to my trailer. It was dark. Vanessa tried the door. Locked. She tried the window. Locked. The back, she whispered. They went to the back door. It was flimsy aluminum. David pulled. It popped open. They were in. They used their phone flashlights. Find the box, Vanessa hissed. They tore apart the living room. They tore apart the kitchen. They went into the bedroom. The bed was made. The closet was empty. The box wasn't there. Where is it? Vanessa frantically opened drawers. She had it right here. Suddenly the lights flicked on. They froze. I wasn't there. But sitting in the armchair in the corner was a man. He was wearing a suit. He had a briefcase on his lap. It was Mr. Henderson, my lawyer. And behind him, standing in the kitchen doorway, were 2 police officers. Good evening, Mr. Henderson said pleasantly. We were expecting you. David dropped his flashlight. Mr. Henderson. Mrs. Vance installed security cameras yesterday, Henderson said. Smart woman. She knew you'd come back for the trash. Vanessa started to cry. We just wanted our gift back. She stole it. The gift you discarded in a garbage can, Henderson asked. Abandonment of property. Legally, it was hers the moment you tossed it. Breaking and entering, however, that is a crime. The police stepped forward. David Richter. Vanessa Richter, the officer said. You are under arrest. No, Vanessa shrieked. I'm pregnant. You can't arrest me. You can be pregnant in a holding cell, ma'am, the officer said, cuffing her. David looked at Henderson. Where is she? He asked, defeated. Where is my mother? Henderson smiled. She's at the airport, David. She's flying first class to Paris. She decided to use the legacy fund on herself. She said she's always wanted to see the Eiffel Tower. Paris, France. 9:00 a.m. I was sitting at a small cafe in Montmartre, watching the city wake up. The air smelled of rain and fresh baguettes. I ordered a café au lait and a croissant. I was wearing a trench coat I had bought yesterday at a boutique on the Champs-Élysées. I took a bite of the croissant. It was flaky, buttery perfection. My phone buzzed on the table. It was a collect call. Will you accept a call from an inmate at the county detention center? I sipped my coffee. I pressed decline. Then I blocked the number. I wasn't ready to talk. Not yet. I wanted them to sit in the silence a little longer. County jail. 3:00 a.m. time difference. David stared at the phone receiver. She declined, he whispered. He looked at the guard. Can I try again? One call, pal, the guard said. Back in the cell. David walked back to the holding cell. It smelled of urine and desperation. In the women's wing, Vanessa was screaming. I need my prenatal vitamins. I need my lawyer. Do you know who my father is? Lady, the female guard sighed. Unless your father is the governor, sit down and shut up. And they spent 3 days in jail. It took that long for Vanessa's parents to scrape together the bail money. When they were released, they didn't look like the power couple anymore. They looked like refugees from a disaster. They took a taxi back to the house they had 25 days left to vacate. The moment the door closed, the war began. This is your fault, Vanessa screamed, throwing her purse at David. You told me she was a pushover. You told me she was stupid. You threw the box away, David shouted back. If you hadn't been such a snob, we would be sitting on $5 million right now. I'm a snob. Vanessa laughed hysterically. You were ashamed of her too. You told me to hide the Afghan she knitted. You didn't want your cool lawyer friends to know you came from a trailer park. David sank onto the sofa. We have to fix this, he said. We have to get her back. She's in Paris, Vanessa yelled. She's spending our inheritance on berets and cheese. She paced the room. My parents are furious. They had to mortgage their summer home to get us out. They want their money back, David. I don't have it, David said. I'm suspended. The law firm found out about the arrest. Breaking and entering. It's a bad look for a corporate lawyer. They put me on unpaid leave. Vanessa looked at him with pure disgust. So you're unemployed, you're broke, and you're disinherited. She touched her stomach. I'm not raising a baby in poverty, David. You better fix this, or I'm gone. In Paris, I wasn't just eating croissants. I was working. Mr. Henderson had set up a secure line for me. How are things? I asked him. Chaotic, he chuckled. David has called the office 50 times. He's threatening to sue for emotional distress. Let him, I said. He has no money for a retainer. Also, Henderson said, I looked into Vanessa's family, the Montgomerys, and it's worse than we thought. They are leveraged to the hilt. They have loans on everything. The summer house, the cars, the boat. And guess who holds the note on their primary residence? I smiled. Don't tell me. A subsidiary of a bank that Bluebird Holdings just acquired a majority stake in. I laughed. It was a rich, full sound. So I own her parents' house, too. Technically, yes. Or at least you control the debt. Call the note, I said. Eleanor. Call it. Accelerate the payments. They defaulted on the bail bond collateral, didn't they? That triggers a clause. Foreclose. That's ruthless, Henderson said. Vanessa called my gift trash, I said, looking at the Eiffel Tower sparkling in the distance. Now she's going to see what it feels like to be treated like trash. A week later. Vanessa was at her parents' house crying about her horrible mother-in-law. Her father, Mr. Montgomery, a man who wore ascots and pretended to be a British aristocrat, was pacing. "Don't worry, darling," he said. "We'll sue the old witch. We'll take her for everything." The doorbell rang. It was a courier. "Mr. Montgomery." "Yes. Notice of acceleration. Your mortgage is due, in full, immediately." Mr. Montgomery turned purple. "This is preposterous. Who is the lender?" He looked at the paper. Bluebird Holdings, LLC. Vanessa grabbed the paper. "Bluebird," she whispered. She looked at her father. She looked at her mother. "She owns you," she said, her voice trembling with horror. "She owns us all." "Who?" her father asked. "Eleanor," Vanessa choked out. "David's mother. The trailer park woman. She bought your debt." The realization hit the room like a bomb. The woman they had mocked, the woman they had looked down on, held the keys to their entire existence, and she wasn't even in the country to hear them beg. That night my phone rang. It was David. I was at a jazz club in the Latin Quarter. I stepped outside. "Hello, David." "Mom, please." He was sobbing. "Stop. Please stop. You're destroying Vanessa's family." "I'm just doing business, David," I said coolly. "Isn't that what you always said? It's just business. They're going to be homeless. Her parents are 60. I was 60 when you threw my gift in the trash," I reminded him. "I was 60 when you let your wife call me garbage." I'm sorry. What do you want? Do you want me to leave her? Is that it?" I paused. "I don't care what you do, David," I said. "That's the point. I don't care anymore. But I want you to know something." "What?" "The box," I said. "The one you broke into my house for." "Yes. It wasn't just money. There was a letter inside. A letter from your father." David went silent. "He wrote it before he died. He said, 'Eleanor, if our son ever loses his way, give him this box. It will remind him where he came from.'" I took a breath. "You didn't just throw away money, David. You threw away your father's last words to you. You threw away his blessing." I heard a sound on the other end, a deep, guttural wail. "Mom, send it to me, please. Send me the letter." "I can't," I said. "Why?" "Because I left it in the trash." I lied. I had it in my purse. But he didn't deserve to know that. "I figured since you liked the trash so much, that's where it belonged." I hung up. I turned off my phone. I went back into the club. The band was playing La Vie en Rose. I ordered another glass of wine. The pressure was too much. With no money, no home, the eviction date was 3 days away, and her parents ruined. Vanessa snapped. David came home to find her packing, not her clothes, his watches, his electronics. "What are you doing?" he asked. "I'm leaving," she said. "I'm selling this stuff. I need money for a ticket." "A ticket to where?" "Dubai," she said. "I have a friend there, a rich friend." "You're leaving me. We're having a baby." Vanessa looked at him. Her eyes were cold stones. "There is no baby, David." David froze. "What?" I lied. She shrugged. "I thought if I said I was pregnant, your mom would sign over the deed faster. It was a leverage play." You lied about my child." "Your child?" she laughed. "You can't afford a child. You can't even afford a wife." She grabbed her bag. "You're pathetic, David. Your mother was right. You have no spine." She walked out. David stood in the empty hallway of the mansion he was about to lose. He had lost his mother. He had lost his inheritance. He had lost his wife. And he had lost a child that never existed. He fell to his knees. And he screamed. 6 months later. David sat on the edge of a mattress in a studio apartment in the bad part of town. It wasn't the Ritz. It wasn't even the suburbs. The walls were thin, the faucet dripped, and the view was a brick wall. He had lost his job at the law firm. The arrest record for breaking and entering made him a liability. He was disbarred for a year pending review. Now he worked at a hardware store, stocking shelves, $15 an hour. He looked at his hands. They were rough. He had calluses for the first time in his life. He thought about his father, Frank. Frank had hands like this. Frank had built things. David had only ever signed papers to take things. He looked at the corner of the room. There was a box there. Not the black walnut box. A cardboard box. Inside were the few things Vanessa hadn't sold before she left: his college diploma, a few photos, and a small wooden bird. He had found it in the bottom of a drawer. His mother had whittled it for him when he was 7. He picked it up. It was simple, crude even, but it was smooth from where she had sanded it for hours so he wouldn't get splinters. He remembered throwing it in a toy chest because he wanted a Game Boy. He remembered throwing the walnut box in the trash because he wanted money. "I threw it all away," he whispered to the empty room. "I threw away the only person who ever loved me for free." He didn't cry. He was past crying. He felt a heavy, dull ache in his chest. It was the weight of clarity. He took a piece of paper, a pen. He started to write. Not a legal brief, not a demand letter, a letter to his mother. I was in Tuscany. Paris had been lovely, but I needed earth. I needed to grow things again. I bought a small vineyard. It was run down, neglected. The vines were tangled. Perfect. I spent my days in the dirt. I wore my old clothes. I pruned. I watered. I coaxed life out of the dry soil. The locals called me La Signora Silenciosa, the silent lady. They knew I had money. I had fixed the village church roof anonymously, but they respected my privacy. One afternoon, a courier arrived. "Signora Vance, a package from America, from a Mr. Henderson." I wiped my hands on my apron. "Thank you." I opened the package. It was a letter and a photo. The photo was of David. He looked different. He wasn't wearing a suit. He was wearing a blue work shirt with a name tag Dave. He looked tired. He looked older. But he looked real. I unfolded the letter. "Mom, Mr. Henderson said he wouldn't give me your address, but he promised to forward this. I hope he did. I'm not writing to ask for money. I'm not writing to ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve either. I'm writing because I found the bird. The wooden bird you made me when I was 7. I held it today. I remembered how you used to sit on the porch and carve while I played. I remembered how safe I felt. I realized something, Mom. You didn't live simply because you had to. You lived simply because you knew what mattered. You knew that the box was more valuable than the money inside it because Dad made it, because you kept it safe for 30 years. I threw away the box. I threw away you, and I ended up with nothing. Vanessa is gone. The baby. There was no baby. I lost everything because I was chasing things that weren't real. I'm working at a hardware store now. It's hard work. My back hurts. But last week an old lady came in. She needed help fixing a lamp. I fixed it for her. She smiled at me. She reminded me of you. It was the first time I felt proud of myself in years. I just wanted you to know. You were right. About everything. I love you, Mom. Even if you never want to see me again. Your son, David. I sat on the stone wall of the terrace. The sun was setting over the vines. I read the letter again. I fixed it for her. My son, the corporate lawyer, fixing a lamp. I touched the paper. He had finally learned. It took losing $5 million, but he had learned the lesson I tried to teach him his whole life. Labor has dignity. Service has value. Love is not a transaction. I went into the house. I opened the black walnut box. The key was still there. The bonds were still there. I hadn't spent them. I hadn't needed to. The dividends from the company were enough. I looked at the money. It was just paper. I looked at David's letter. That was gold. I didn't write back immediately. I waited a year. I wanted to see if it stuck. I had Henderson check on him. "He's still at the hardware store," Henderson reported. "He was promoted to shift manager. He rents a small apartment. He pays his bills on time. No debt. No new Vanessa." "Is he happy?" I asked. "He seems content. Quiet." I made a decision. I wasn't going to give him the money. Not the $5 million. That money was cursed. It had almost destroyed him. But I was going to give him something else. I flew back to the States. I didn't go to his apartment. I went to the hardware store. I walked in. It was a Tuesday morning. I saw him in aisle 4. He was showing a young couple how to install a dimmer switch. "You need to ground the wire," he was saying patiently. "Safety first." He looked healthy. He had lost the soft, doughy look of the corporate world. His arms were strong. He looked up. He saw me. He dropped the dimmer switch. "Mom." The couple looked at me. I was wearing a nice dress, but nothing flashy. "Hello, David," I said. He walked toward me slowly, as if I were a hallucination. "You're here," he whispered. "I'm here." He stopped a foot away. He didn't try to hug me. He kept his hands at his sides. "I got your letter," I said. I meant it," he said. "Every word." "I know." I reached into my purse. I didn't pull out a checkbook. I pulled out the black walnut box. David's eyes widened. "The box." "Yes," I said. "I kept it." I held it out to him. "It's for you." He recoiled. "No. Mom, I can't. I don't want the money. I don't want the key. Please, keep it." "Open it," I said. He took it with trembling hands. He opened the lid. He pressed the secret knot. The drawer popped open. The key was gone. The bonds were gone. Inside the drawer was a single piece of paper. A deed. But it wasn't a deed to a mansion. It was a deed to a small, rundown building on the edge of town, an old woodworking shop that had been closed for years. "What is this?" he asked. "Your father's shop," I said. "I bought it back. It's full of tools, wood, potential." I looked at him. "You said you liked fixing the lamp. You said you liked working with your hands. Your father was a master craftsman, David. It's in your blood. You bought me a shop." "I bought you a chance," I said, "to build something real, to make things that last, not lawsuits, not lies, tables, chairs, boxes." David looked at the deed. Then he looked at me. Tears streamed down his face, cutting through the dust on his cheeks. "Why?" he choked out. "After everything I did." "Because," I said, reaching out and cupping his rough, bearded face, "you are my son, and I am a gardener. I don't throw away a tree just because it has a bad season. I prune it, I water it, and I wait for it to grow." He broke. He hugged me. He hugged me like he used to when he was 5, burying his face in my shoulder, sobbing. "Thank you," he wept. "Thank you, Mom." "Make me proud, David," I whispered. Not rich, proud. 5 years later. Richter & Son Woodworking. The sign hangs over the shop. It smells of sawdust and varnish. David is in the back planing a piece of cherry wood. He is singing. He is married now. To a teacher named Sarah. She is kind. She knits. She loves my cookies. They have a baby. A boy. They named him Frank. I visit on Sundays. I bring lunch. David shows me his latest project. A cradle. "For Frank," he says, running his hand over the smooth wood. "I made it myself. No screws. Just joinery, like Dad used to do." "It's beautiful," I say. "The $5 million I donated it, all of it. I started a scholarship for trade schools, for kids who want to be plumbers, electricians, carpenters, kids who want to work with their hands. I kept enough for myself to live in my vineyard and travel. I don't need millions. I have a son who looks me in the eye. I have a grandson who sleeps in a bed made of love. And I have the box." David gave it back to me. "Keep it, Grandma," he said. "Put Frank's pictures in it." I sit on the porch of the shop watching David teach his son how to hold a piece of sandpaper. "Gently, Frankie," David says. "Respect the wood." I smile. The cycle is broken. The curse of entitlement is gone. Vanessa is a bad memory. The shame is a shadow that has passed. I open the black walnut box. Inside there is no money, no keys to safe deposit boxes. There is a photo of David, Sarah, and Frank, and a photo of me in my garden in Tuscany, and a small wooden bird. I am Eleanor. I was a silent millionaire. Now I am just a mother and a grandmother. And that is the richest thing I have ever been. If you are reading this and you are holding on to anger, let it go. But if you are holding on to someone who treats you like trash, let them go too. Sometimes you have to let people hit the bottom so they can find their own feet. And remember, the most valuable gifts don't come in Tiffany boxes. They come in rough wood wrapped in brown paper, and they are filled with the only thing that truly matters: hope. My name is Eleanor Vance, and my box is full.